ROCD can have an enormous impact on your life, and you might not even be aware that this is what it is. I am Pauline, and I am so happy you are here because on this channel we talk a lot about the Fearful Avoidant Attachment Style, and people with this attachment style have a higher chance of having OCD in general, but specifically also Relationship OCD. So knowing the term and knowing what it is and knowing how to know if you have ROCD can really help. So let's dive into that. What is relationship OCD? I have other videos about it, but just really short, it means that you have obsessive thoughts about your relationship, a lot of intense doubts. Do I love them enough? Shouldn't I love them more? Shouldn't I feel more? Shouldn't I be more attracted? Are we compatible? There's just a million thoughts going through your head 24/7, and it can range from just having these thoughts every now and then and being able to function to really not being able to function anymore, and this being paired with so much anxiety and so much fear and just obsessive analyzing of everything that's happening in your body, your feelings, your relationship, your partner. So there is a kind of a range. That's how I see it. It's not black and white. You can have ROCD symptoms, but maybe won't get diagnosed specifically by a psychologist, but still, yeah, suffer from it and really struggle with it. So it's valuable to know. It's valuable to know the symptoms. So one of the main symptoms is that you have obsessions, and that means that you have thoughts that just keep coming back and keep coming back, and that you feel like you have to analyze and take really seriously, and that really have a big impact on how you feel in any given moment. So that, for instance, is the obsession about, do I feel enough? Am I in love enough? And then checking your feelings to see if that is the case. So the obsession then is, do I love them enough? And then checking your feelings is a compulsion, and that is another symptom of relationship OCD. So compulsion is the act that you do to find relief, to try to get relief, and you're looking for a relief constantly. So when you have the obsession of, do I feel enough? Am I in love enough? What you could be doing is checking your feelings when you're with them. And then when you feel anything, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I feel enough. And then you may be relieved for a second, maybe a minute, maybe a day, before that obsession comes back and you have to find relief again. So obsessions and compulsions are maybe some of the core parts of relationship OCD. And with relationship OCD, obviously, they focus on your relationship. Then there's also intrusive thoughts about your relationship. This was so eye-opening to me when I learned about this, that you can have thoughts that just enter your brain without you consciously wanting them or inviting them in, that can be very scary and very harsh and very cruel, about your partner or about yourself or about what could happen if things go wrong. Those are intrusive thoughts, and those can be a sign of trauma, but they don't say anything about you or what you truly feel or truly believe. So it's very valuable to recognize intrusive thoughts as intrusive thoughts and know that they are not true. But it's very hard because they feel true, and it feels like you really have to do something with them. You have to take them seriously. But that's another symptom of ROCD, intrusive thoughts. What you will also notice with relationship OCD is a sense of urgency. So you have to do something right now. You have to either break up, or you have to analyze, or you have to do something with the thoughts and the feelings that you have now. And there's a lot of fear involved. So a sense of urgency, you have to fix or solve this right now. You have to do something right now. And if you don't, then horrible things will happen. So a lot of fear, a lot of threats, actually, in a way, threatening feeling. What is also very interesting about relationship OCD is that the problems seem to hop. So what I mean by that is that you could be obsessing about whether you love them enough, and then you check your feelings and, oh yes, I do love them enough, or I feel love, and then all of a sudden you're like, but do I find them funny enough? and then you obsess about that, and then for a while, and then you're distracted by something else, and you're like, oh yeah, I do find them funny enough, but does that mean we're only friends? Do I find them attractive enough? And then you obsess about that. So problems tend to hop from one thing to another. That is very typical for relationship OCD. Instead of it just being one problem that stays within that one problem and comes back every now and then, it's just one thing after another. It's like it's never good enough. It's never relief enough when one thing is solved and next thing comes and the next thing comes. And I remember that when I realized this, I just felt so defeated. It felt like I was running a marathon in a sprint and the finish line just kept being pushed back and pushed back. Like I would never get there. Um, it also gives you this feeling that you have to fix a big thing or solve a big problem. So I remember when I was healing from relationship OCD, I had such a hard time letting it go because I felt like I had to be solving something. I had to be fixing something. I couldn't just, enjoy my relationship. I had to be solving something big or fixing something big. And this is very typical also for relationship OCD, that you just keep working on the problem and just finding new things to work on within the relationship. So that's that the problems hop. You keep finding things to work on or to solve. And then also it's just never enough. You never have enough certainty, you never have enough relief, you never have enough feelings. So when you are obsessing about whether you love them enough, it is never enough. Even if you feel a surge of love, it's never intense enough or long enough. So that can be very frustrating also. You just keep trying to find more and more and more and more. ROCD can also cause breakup urges, which means that all of a sudden, that sense of urgency, you feel like, oh, I have to break up now. And your fear brain can tell you things like, you've been leading them on for too long. You are not being faithful to yourself or truthful to yourself. I mean, you are just fooling yourself. You have to break up. You're weak if you don't break up. You only stay with them because you don't want to be alone. Stuff like that. So breakup urges, it can also just be the feeling that you have to break up. You have to run away from this relationship. And then being hyper aware of your feelings. So this is what also is a core thing of the Fearful Avoidant Attachment Style, is that you are very aware and focused on your feelings. You want to feel the most intense positive feelings there are all the time, at the most intense, and you feel like that is going to give you safety in a way. But that being hyper aware of your feelings and how you feel about your partner, how you feel about your relationship, that can also definitely be a sign of relationship OCD, especially when it's paired with a lot of fear. So when you don't feel what you should be feeling or what you think you should be feeling, there's a lot of fear about what that would mean and what that would have as a consequence. Like, oh, that means that I don't love them, and that means that I have to break up with them even if I don't want to. And then lastly, and there's so much more, but feeling like everything will fall apart or will go wrong if you don't do it right. There's this sense of black and whiteness. It has to go absolutely perfectly right, because otherwise everything goes wrong. And a lot of the things that we just talked about is definitely coming from trauma. If you've had a childhood where there was a lot of fear or a lot of anger and unsafety, it makes sense that you want things to be perfect. And with ROCD, you're looking for that perfection in your feelings. If you feel perfectly enough, then everything will be fine, then everything will be safe. And if you fix this big thing, then you will get to a place where everything is good. But what you probably will do is feed a lot of that fear and feed those compulsions and obsessions, thinking that when you have solved this, that's when you will be happy. Whereas it's actually a completely different route to being happy and and being relaxed and being okay. Um, so it is absolutely possible to heal relationship OCD. I struggle with it so much for about 6 or 7 years, the first 6 or 7 years of my relationship. Um, and now we've been together for 15 years, and the past 8 years, is that then? Um, I have not had a single doubt. I have no sign of relationship OCD whatsoever. Some little forms of anxiety here and there in other areas of my life, but no relationship OCD anymore whatsoever. Um, Completely changed my view on love and relationships. I know my husband is right for me. That doesn't mean he's perfect. That doesn't mean I am perfect or our relationship is perfect. But we are building our marriage, and we keep on building it, and we're going through different phases, which are all interesting and all an adventure. And when I talk about ROCD and all the symptoms of it, I definitely remember it, but it feels like such a distant past. It's so long ago that I felt all of this, and I can just feel how exhausting it is to be in that space and to be so scared of anything happening. So you've asked quite some questions about ROCD and asked me to talk more about ROCD, and I will, because I just want to help you, and I know it's a big part of fearful avoidant attachment style, or at least a lot of fearful avoidants tend to have ROCD symptoms at least. So we will make it into kind of a series on different kinds of obsessions, different kinds of compulsions, and dive into that. But I always want you to know you can definitely heal this and completely be rid of this. How do you say that? Be free of this. It is not something, and I know some people say that, but it's not something that you have to deal with for the rest of your life. It's just not. I have a Dutch program that is specifically around ROCD or ROCD kind of symptoms, doubts, and as of now, more than 2,500 people have gone through that with amazing results. Most of them just don't have any doubts whatsoever anymore, and I get messages every day of people getting married and having babies and just really enjoying that, which is that's like the best thing for me. Um, so yeah, just know that you can definitely be completely free of this and just enjoy your relationship. And a lot of that has to do with healing the fearful avoidant attachment style and really healing the roots of all of this fear that is driving the relationship OCD. If you want that, if you're interested in that, I also have an English program which is called Healed and Happy, and that is focused completely on the fearful avoidant attachment style, so not necessarily on ROCD, even though I might add a module on ROCD if you want to, because that is definitely something that you can work on separately too. But there's more information in the description below. But please let me know if you recognize ROCD, if you're struggling with it, if you recognize any of these things. Maybe you have things you want to add that made you aware that you have ROCD. Let's help each other. I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.
Healed and Happy is a tailor made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of the fearful avoidant attachment style.